Hello everyone, I'm Ernie and I am so glad you're here with us today. Today we are going to take our ore that we picked up from inside and outside of the Chollar mine. We're going to roast it, we're going to crush it and pan it out. But before we do that, I need to show you some safety changes that I made here so we can work on our projects and make it safer. And let's go check it out. Here is the first safety change that we made. We have our rock crusher that is right here. And if you go back to my last video when we were roasting some rocks, I would roast it in this furnace that I've been using, and then I would put it in this pan. But I had this table closer together, and so this pan, when I set it right here and I was putting the roasted rocks inside this pan, well, at one time this piece of wire and the plastic around it started smoking just off of the heat that was coming off the rocks. And then I put my hand on the gas tank right here and it was pretty hot. And I was really fortunate because I wasn't thinking of safety, and that's why I'm mentioning it to you now, so that when you're roasting and you're running your furnace, that you make your area safe so you don't blow yourself up. The second change that I made is what you can see is my furnace right here, but right behind the furnace right here is my vibra plate. Let me take this cover off. And my vibra plate, what I use is to compact the base that I have underneath my mill and my wash plant. But what I did by accident, I was roasting, and when I had my vibra plate about 4 to 5 feet behind my furnace, and so when this thing is burning about 2200 degrees and you got a gas tank about 5 feet away, it's not too smart. So I say that so you won't be as ignorant as I am. And let's get to our project. Before I forget, there was one final change that we had made. We had taken the electrical cord, and last time I would run the electrical cord in the front, and the inlets and outlets would be right here, right where I'm working with the water, which isn't too smart. So anyhow, what we did this time, we brought the extension cord around the sluice box up against the T-post, around the T-post that my next door neighbor, Old Timer Steve, had put up. And so we have our electrical above the water, so it will be safe. Here is the progress that we've made on our mill and wash plant, and I trust that everything is in good order and also in a safe order. Okay, here we have our 11.5 pounds of ore. I've washed this ore so you could see what's really inside of it, and this is the ore that came from inside of the Chollar mine. This is the ore that I picked up from the tailings pile outside of the Chollar mine. Our ore is at 1800 degrees. Our ore has been roasting at 1800 degrees for 35 minutes, and now we're going to pull it out of the furnace. Let's finish roasting the rest of the ore. We have our ore broken up. It's still pretty hot, and once it cools down, then we'll run it through the rock crusher. Here is our crushed ore. You can see that very nice line of gold. We're about 630 to 650 degrees Fahrenheit. The other day, I met old-timer Otis, who is a friend of old-timer Joey's. And old-timer Otis said I should be using clear crushed glass when I do my smelts because it is more effective than silica sand. And so we're giving that process a try today. As we begin to crush this glass, I do have a rated #1 cut-resistant pair of gloves on. Our process of smelting today is going to be a little different. The other day I met an old-timer Otis who lives here in Dayton, and he's been around for a number of years, and he's actually worked with miners who had worked with miners from the 1800s up in Silver City, Gold Hill, and Virginia City. So I'm going to give this recipe a try today. And so we have, actually what I had was 25 grams of concentrate that I had panned out, but I wanted to work with more than 25 grams, so I went back into my tailings and took out 75 grams. So we're going to work with 100 grams of concentrate today, and we are going to use that crushed glass, 100 grams of that. But then old-timer Otis said, don't use soda ash, but use the equal amounts of volume of borax, so we're going to do that. And then he said use 60 grams of potassium nitrate. And so that's what we're going to do, is use 60 grams of potassium nitrate. And I did add in 45 grams of high litharge with flour, and I will use a piece of rebar as a metal collector. But I like what old-timer Otis said about the litharge. He said, well, what the litharge does is collects the metal, so it's easier to find in the slag. And I'm going, wow, I've never heard that put it that way before, and he's absolutely right. So let's get on with this process and see what we get out of this smelt from the Chollar mine. Here is our concentrate and our flux, and we do have our furnace heating up. Our crucible is now heated up. Let's get our flux and our concentrate inside the crucible. And yes, I do know that the crucible is broken in 2 separate places, but we're going to use it anyway because I don't want to waste the crucible. Our material is now ready to be poured into the cone mold. We are ready to pour the cone out of the cone mold. Let's go weigh this up. We have a 2 to 3 gram prill. I apologize about the wind. It's really blowing today, and so our scale is just not registering right, but I know that this prill is about 2 to 3 grams. Okay, we're going to weigh this up now and see what we get. We got 0.028. That is not bad at all. All from the Chollar mine on 11.5 pounds of ore. Well, this wraps up this episode, and we got a favorable result on our gold and silver bead. And I just want to say a great big thank you to old timer Otis, who educated me on this process. And it's kind of interesting and exciting to me because this process that he got was from the old timers that he worked with, and those old timers worked with original miners up at the Comstock lode. And so I'm very excited. This was only I forgot what it was when we started, this 11.5 pounds of ore, and this is what we got, which is really good. And so I want to just say a great big thank you for you guys being here, and I'm so glad that you're here. And if you like this episode, smash that like button, share this on your channel, and if you haven't subscribed, I want to encourage you to subscribe and to become part of our AU family. And I'm so glad that you're here, and we will see you on the next one.